Janessa, are you with us?
Yes.
Come on, Dashiki.
Bless you.
Come on, Dashiki.
Look, I know. The moo is the most comfortable outfit.
I was gonna say that I don't think that's a dashiki, but I didn't think it was my place to correct you.
It's a moo, but it had a little pattern on it, so I just was calling it.
Yeah. Because I had a grandmother and she wore moo-moos all the time. So.
I'm so glad she put me on moo-moos. They are the most comfortable thing ever. So.
I will argue with you there and say that just a boxer short around the house is the most comfortable thing ever.
You're not as free as you are in the moo-moo.
Is that the actual name, or is that just what we call it? Is it actually called a moo-moo?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'd be pretty insulting if it was, but I don't know.
I think it is the name. I think it's spelled M-U-U though.
I'm assuming that y'all heard or seen the video from Carlton Funderburk.
Is that the one who was talking about the broke people, the broke, disturbed, busted, and yeah, I did see that.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, I'll play the video and then we can go from there. But let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
Boom shakalaka.
Top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Worst Ones podcast. This is the place for us preachers' kids to come and unite and do whatever it is we do. My name is Rudy Wilson. I am a preacher's kid. Janessa Rowland is in the building. She is a tea sipping, moo wearing. She turned from a PK to a mother of a church.
The church auntie. Okay, I am the church auntie.
And just in a matter of moments, Terry Weezy is a PK. Kellie Leezy is a PK. We are all in the building. Excuse me if my lighting keeps going on and off. I'm outside, so it's my camera just keeps adjusting. But Janessa, how have you been? What's going on in your world?
I'm doing pretty good. Work, school. Oh, guess who made the honor roll, y'all?
Not a grown human person, because they make the dean's list.
Them grades did come out, y'all. Just made the honor roll.
Somebody's parents are getting a bumper sticker.
I mean.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Semester's over.
I still don't like that term for an adult. It's honor roll.
It bothers me too. But
I bet it does. It's a little.
We're just
something.
Gonna go with it. So.
All right. It's a good thing. No. All right.
Yes. School's done for the semester. I did get an A. Whoop whoop. Did make the honor roll. So same old stuff. Just a different day.
Gotcha.
You said you did or you didn't?
I did.
Oh, okay. All right. That last time I thought you said
it did sound like that a little bit.
Yeah, it sounded like you said I didn't make it.
No, I did.
Okay, good. I would expect nothing less.
We're holding that 4.0 strong, huh?
I said I would expect nothing less.
Thank you, Terry.
How's the ghetto garden and all that?
It's actually doing pretty good. Two of my watermelons, they're holding on. Okay. My first cucumber I need to go cut it off because it's a good size. So, we're kicking. But it's funny you said that because for a hot second today, I was like, you know what? It's August, almost September. Like, what if I just pulled everything up and just called it a season? I did a lot of good stuff. I did more than I've done ever. So it's like, I feel accomplished. Like, I don't necessarily feel like I need to keep going right now because life is busy. So I'm just going to rock out what I got. And I probably am not going to plant anything new for a while.
Okay.
You said you got a cucumber out of there?
I did. I got my first cucumber.
Are you gonna pickle it, or are you just straight to the salad?
I'm gonna just eat it straight the first time, and then next time pickle them.
All right.
Awesome.
My balcony garden's doing great too. In case anybody wants to know.
Yeah. Well, we're coming to you. Well, definitely congrats, Janessa, on your honor roll, on your vegetables. You know, it's always good to have good news. I know sometimes we come on here and we may be a little sore or tired or whatever, but when we come back strong with the testimonies,
Amen.
Gotta go through the test for the testimony.
Amen.
It makes it all worth it. So that's what's up. Terry Wayne, talk to us about you and your how you've been doing, as well as your balcony garden.
Balcony garden's doing great. I set up that automatic watering system, and it's been fantastic, because that's what I hated about having plants up here. It's because I get so busy, you know, in my company and 2 podcasts and comedy and girlfriend and family, and like literally don't even have time to water them. But that automatic watering system makes it's the best $30 I've ever spent. So I was out there. I've picked just about everything. Basil is fantastic. The rosemary is great. The thyme is great. The parsley is great. Everything, just because I've been cooking this past week a lot. So, but no, I mean, those 3 in particular, well, those 4, parsley, basil, rosemary, and thyme. If you can get those fresh, it makes all the difference in the world, even if you don't know how to cook. If you can do that instead of oregano, doesn't matter. You can do bottle stuff. It's fine. It doesn't change anything. But some of those are really game changers. And then I did a show this past weekend at a strip club. I thought I'd bring that up because I know how much you guys like Players Club. So that was fun. That didn't. Yeah, no, it went well. It went very well.
Was it a mic, or they booked the show at the strip?
No, it's a book show.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a Red Light. I'm sure it's Red Light.
That's up in Palm Beach or something?
Yeah, it's in West Palm. It's the Red Light Lounge, which is attached to Monroe's strip club. You got really dark there.
I was saying, because I'm outside, so my camera adjusts as I move. So
I got you.
You have to excuse it.
So what were you saying, Janessa?
Oh, I was going to ask you. So when you come out, you too, Rudy, when y'all come out for your shows, do y'all come out to like music? Do you get to say, DJ, play this? Or is it just like whatever they play?
Depends on the show.
Yeah, it
depends on the show. It's usually the better the show, the better equipped they are. So if you do like an improv, especially, I mean, even if it's an open mic, you'll come out to music. But if you're booked, they'll ask you specifically, be like, what do you want to come out to? If you have any, because some comics have like visual aids that they use, projections, things like that, music cues. So it really just depends. But most local shows, no, you're not going to get any music.
Hand claps.
Yeah. Well, now, I will say urban rooms, I always get music, and I usually get to pick.
So what's your come out music? Like if you can pick one.
Well, like for instance, if I'm doing an urban room specifically, or even the improv, mine is always like, give me something like Trick Nasty. Like I want something real hard and gangster and rugged, so that when I come out, I can look at the crowd and go, I think that music was for somebody else. And it's a nice little opening joke, just to, because they're like, yeah, it's not for you. That wasn't for you.
Well, you should play Church Girl the next time.
Church Girl. It would still work with the joke, to be honest. No, if I was actually picking, I would go with like the old dusty classic, Son of a Preacher Man. If I was actually picking, and it wasn't just for a bit.
Got it. Rudy, what's your come out music?
So now I don't currently have one. I just pick whatever. Sometimes I'll just let them just pick whatever. Usually it's a song that doesn't match me. But for a while, and this was back when it first came out, I did used to use It's YFN Lucci and PNB Rock.
Every day I'm lit. Every day I'm lit.
I used to come out to that for probably about like a good year and some change. But this was back when I was in the Army. I was still in DC. So yeah, that's outside of that, any other song. Oh, and when I first started doing comedy, I used to use March Madness a lot.
I forgot about that song every day.
Future March Madness.
Go back and listen to that.
I mean, look it up. I can't help you. But the yeah. So, but now I just take it. So. But Kellie Lee, how you doing?
I'm well. Sorry, a little distracted in the beginning because I was paying some bills. It's after the 15th. I needed to pay since I was sitting at my computer. I said, let me go ahead and pay some bills really quickly. But otherwise, I'm well. Thanking God for the money to pay the bills that I just paid. Thank you, God, for the computer and the internet and the online systems in order to pay the bills quickly and efficiently. It took me all of about 5 minutes. So I praise the Lord for all of that. I'm not sure what things look like for people when they had to like write checks and send it off, and I guess hope and pray that it made it, and then you had to write in your ledger of what you did and make sure you don't overdraft. And I praise God that I wasn't. I got the tail end of those times. So I'm thankful and feeling blessed today.
Well, you should thank God for the money, but you thank Al Gore for the internet. All right, that's what you do.
Who made Al Gore and gave him the vision?
Well, he didn't even come up with it. Never.
Right.
Mind.
I was like, did he even come up with it?
No, he didn't. But there's a whole that's what the internet believes is that Al Gore started the internet.
Oh, well, I was like, wait. Al Gore started the internet? So the Lord made the internet. He gave whoever started the internet the vision to have Wi-Fi.
I think the internet came from somewhere further south.
Nope.
I'm pretty sure. Okay.
The Lord.
You should check out some more of the internet.
Now, man has polluted the internet for sure, but the concept of the internet, it all comes from the Lord.
What the devil meant for evil, God turned it around for our what? For our good.
Amen.
Now is that in the Bible? I don't know.
it look like
it depends.
Sound good.
It depends on which God you're talking about, because that gets argued a lot on there too. I don't know if you've been on there or not, but yeah.
Been on where?
The internet.
Oh. Yeah. Maybe it's what God meant for good. Humans turn evil.
That's true.
Maybe so. All right.
I don't think God made the internet, because anybody that gave human beings the internet knew we were going to do nefarious things with it.
He gave human beings the earth. I mean, he definitely made this, and we fucking up there too. You know. Anyway, the internet is here. Whoever made it. But that's so things.
I'll tell you who made it. A bunch of nerds. That's who. Right. Nerds made it.
Things are well. I can't complain.
Gotcha. Well, things are well with me. I am currently in Dade County, Miami, Florida. I'll be leaving tomorrow. I got here yesterday. Did a show last night, doing another one tonight, and then I'm out this door. All righty. Well, for our topic today, once again, for our listeners, this will be cut out of our recording, just so you know, copyright and all that type of stuff. You know, this probably won't be a copyrighted thing because it ain't, a song or something. But either way, we'll see what the copyright claim says. But I am going to play for my co-host here the clips of Pastor Carlton Funderburk, a Kansas City pastor, it's a viral video that somebody put out of him addressing his congregation here.
See, that's how I know you still poor, broke, busted, and disgusted, because of how you've been honoring me.
Whoa.
I'm not working your McDonald's money. I'm not working your Red Lobster money. I ain't working your St. John Nick. Y'all can't afford it no how. I ain't worth y'all Louis Vuitton. I ain't worth your Prada. I'm not worth your Gucci. Mother, I'm saying this, and I promise you, Deacon, it is not with respect and want. I'm saying it because I want you to understand just what God is saying. Found out that Movado, you can buy a Movado watch in Sam's. And y'all know I asked for one last year. Here it is the whole way in August. I still ain't got it. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Let me kick down the door and talk to my cheap sons and daughters. I don't want to hear no more excuses about what y'all can't afford. You can't afford it because you don't see the value here.
So he's asking for a watch from his his congregation. I mean, the first thing I think when I see that is like, this is not a pastor. This is a heretic. You know, this is somebody who draws away people from God. He draws them away because he wants a freaking watch. You know, I remember my father's congregation gave him a watch, gave him a Rolex for Pastor Appreciation Day one year. He didn't ask for it. They just got together and said, we want to do something nice for Reverend on Pastor Appreciation Day. So they bought him a Rolex watch. I have it right now. Like, he gave it to me after, you know, I think it was like 25. And he gave it to me. I remember it was 1983 when they gave it to him. Because he had moved like to California to do a church, but then they'd asked him to come down here. So then he moved back down here. You know, so they just wanted to say thank you. That was it. But this whole begging for stuff thing has got to go.
So I feel like, though, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate today.
Mm-hmm.
The sake of conversation, I feel like, though, that's what he's saying. So he's saying that you guys don't thank me enough. You guys don't value me enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this was Pastor Appreciation. I don't know if this was his birthday. I don't know what he's ranting about. But I feel like that's what he's saying, that right, that you guys don't value me enough to buy me this Movado watch that I've asked for. That you guys don't appreciate me enough to buy me things, that you guys will go and, you know, to McDonald's, you guys will go to, what else did he say? Louis Vuitton, you guys will go to St. John, you guys will go to all of these places and spend your money, but you won't spend it on me.
Listen to yourself.
He also goes on to say, it sounds like, that the reason you all continue to be broke, busted, and disgusted is because you don't value me as the pastor in my position enough to buy me a gift. Because what I asked for is from Sam's. I ain't asked for Louis Vuitton. I didn't ask for St. John. I didn't ask for this. You can buy me a Movado watch at Sam's, and why don't you all value me enough to buy me this watch?
How much does that watch cost?
Well, before you keep going, I just want to say, Kelly, I'm actually glad you brought that up, because that actually was the topic for today. Should the church bless the pastor? Like, should that be? Because we all know the pastor should look out for the congregation and sacrifice and all these things. And I'm specifically not talking about a watch. I'm saying, and just in general, like, is it biblical, or is it even logical for the congregation to do things that are a blessing to the pastor because of the sacrifices that he makes for the congregation? Or should he or she never receive anything because they're the pastor, and that's, pastors aren't supposed to.
Hey, I'm the most cynical one out of this bunch, and I'll say no. There's nothing wrong with a church wanting to do something nice for their pastor. I thought it was great that they bought him that Rolex. It was out of the blue. He was very surprised. He was very happy about it. I don't think that's where the problem comes in. I think the problem comes in with you asking for things, right? Because where much is given, much is required, right? And so, Bible says God knows the desires of your heart, and if you follow him, he will fulfill them. So you don't have to, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, I mean, it's an honor just to have the position. You know what I mean? We forget the respect, the gratitude, And not only that, but the community respect that you get. You know, my father got treated to a bunch of stuff all throughout my early life, just because of his position. So I think that the benefits come with it. But no, I don't think they should be specifically asking for things, and certainly not a specific kind of thing. You know, I think you just got it all twisted, because according to what you're preaching, life's supposed to be more than just attaining new stuff and just feeling like you're doing better than your neighbor, you know, and just having better things to make you feel better. They're supposed, the spirituality gets lost through the materialism.
And I think that oftentimes I wonder, I guess my thing wasn't even so much of him asking for it possibly behind closed doors. You know, they may say, Pastor, you know, your birthday's coming up, it's pastor's anniversary, with something that you may like or whatever. I think my issue with it was the expectation that this is supposed to happen, that you're supposed to bless me in this tangible way, and how dare you not?
Yeah, he's yelling at him. He's yelling at him because he didn't get it.
Right. You know, I think that's my thing. But in the same token, depending on the pastors that he's been around, what he's seen, he may have seen pastors get the watches and the jets and the cars and the clothes and the, you know, or whatever, and he's come to expect that as well. I think that's my, like, that I don't know.
Well, you can expect in one hand and shit in the other, and figure out which one fills up the fastest. All right. I'm just saying, like, if I had a wife or a girlfriend who was yelling at me because I told you I wanted this watch for a year now and blah, it'd be out the door like a sack of potatoes. I'd drop her. I mean, I wouldn't take that from a spouse, and nobody should. I'm certainly not going to take it from a pastor I'm paying tithes and offering to.
So for one, I think that's a thing that's a lot of times misconstrued. But for one, you're well, at least, well, I'll speak for my dad's church. When people pay tithes and offerings, you're definitely not paying it to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, at all. So
no, they get paid a salary.
I don't think that's the case for every church. And even when it comes down to pastors who get a salary, like the church that I grew up in Atlanta, like that pastor got a salary in the sense of like money from the church, but it was a separate offering. Like, we paid tithes and offering, and then you had a total separate envelope that if you wanted to give something to the pastor directly, you could. And it was never like a requirement. That's just how he got paid. He didn't get like a salary. And this is a fairly big church. So the point I'm making is like, it's not necessarily a tithe and offering always going to somebody. You have to look at, well, I'm already giving you, giving you my money. It's almost kind of like, when you pay, Papa John's for your pizza, but you don't tip the delivery man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of feel like, man, I'm already giving y'all $50. Why I got to throw an extra $10 on here? Well, the nigga dropping your food off ain't getting the 50. You know what I'm saying? Like, Papa John's getting that. So it's
funny. I delivered pizzas for Papa John's, so I can speak educatedly on this.
Well, I mean, congrats. But the point I'm making is that like it's a separate entity. Now some pastors taking tithes, I get it. I'm not saying it, but I'm saying in a general basis that doesn't necessarily have to be true. And when it comes down to him, he did send out an apology, whatever, because I'm sure he does realize that how he handled the situation, I think we all can agree is wrong. Like, he was dead wrong. Like, you know what I'm saying? Pastor or not, like, you don't, you know what I'm saying? You even said it, Terry, spouse, girlfriend, whatever. Like, you don't address people like that, and the fact that, his congregation was a man in it, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that was
well, and the only reason I said spouse, girlfriend, whatever, boyfriend, because what it does is it poisons the relationship you think you have with this person. Like, oh, I didn't know, and I'm speaking spouse, girlfriend, and boyfriend thing here. I didn't know that our relationship was predicated on me giving you things. I didn't know I was just buying your good favor.
Right.
And that is amplified 10,000 times when it comes to a spiritual leader.
right. And what I'm saying is, but at the same time, you never know. You never know like what somebody dealing with to make them react a certain way. You know what I'm saying? That cat could be, about to get evicted or something. Maybe he just had a moment.
So he needs a watch?
No. I'm just saying. I'm just making up scenario, but I'm saying like he's a human being, so him reacting that way, like he had a human moment. I get it. He was dead wrong, but I'm saying in the simple fact of people having the mindset of I value my leadership so much that I am going to bless them. You know what I'm saying? And now, whether that's cooking for them, whether that's washing their clothes, whether that's buying them something.
I'll give you a perfect example.
Hold on one second, whether that's babysitting their kids. I don't think, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that the congregation thinks about the pastor in that way. Like when we come, most of us are coming to get something. You know what I'm saying? We're not really thinking about giving the person because we feel like this person is supposed to give to us. But my question is, should there be a responsibility on us as members, whether you're in leadership or whether you're just the person who just show up, every Sunday to bless the pastor? And I'm not saying make sure he had like on the pastor anniversary you give. I'm saying like whatever it is throughout the year, just look out for him. Ask him, is he okay? Ask he or she, are they okay? You know what I'm saying? Like just whatever that looks like should that be a thing? Or because you are a pastor, you should just automatically just know that you don't get that. That ain't a part of your job. Like you can only give, but you don't receive.
Well, I mean, there's a million ways to do that. There's a million ways to do that without going, hey, I like this brand of watch. I need one. Y'all need to get it for me. There's a million ways to do that. There was a woman named Billy Joe and her husband that went to our church when I was young. And the reason I remember her is because, they're just a small middle-class little family. The husband worked construction. The wife never worked. And they were older. It seemed like they've been elderly forever. I remember them being elderly, and Billy Joe just passed away a few months ago. But I got a call saying, hey, she passed away, because somebody thought I should know. The reason why is because she didn't give watches or money or this, but she remembered not only my father's birthday, but my mother's, my sister's, and mine. And every single time one of our birthdays came up, she'd show up to work with a cake she baked for us, right? And then I remember a couple of times that my parents had to either go out of town or they had a service or they had a revival or something like that. She would volunteer and say, oh, I'll watch your kids for you. And so we go over to her house, and little stuff like that can redeem you just as much as giving somebody a material possession. To me, it seems like this pastor's way more interested in what he's getting materialistically than what he's getting spiritually. That's where I find like the poison is, because I'll remember Billy Joe for the rest of my life. And all it took was a cake once a year. But it proved that not only she cared about us, but she cared about her responsibility. She cared about our happiness. And she proved it every single year when she show up with that German chocolate cake.
Well, I was going to say, I think it really boils down to relationship at the end of the day. If your pastor or the pastor has that relationship and interaction with it, with their church members, that someone feels so passionately to do something in return for the spoken words, the prayers, the hospital visits, the whatever, I feel like as church members, that's in our right to do if that's what we want to do. But I don't think I agree with Kelly. I think the expectation that it's supposed to happen is the part that's wrong, because one thing my dad always says when he gets up on the pulpit sermon Sunday after Sunday, he's going out to preach to his church members and the parishioners, but he's only looking for the approval of one, which is God. And so that's what it really is at the end of the day. It's not about the vessel, it's about God. And I think that's what made the video even more disturbing, because it was very much so, look at me, look at all the things I've done for you. You do not value me, when it's not even you who's doing none of this stuff.
Nope.
The word that's coming through you is from God.
You didn't write this book, you just read it.
It's just like it's very toxic for the church. It puts a bad taste in people's mouth. And unfortunately, this is not like the first, incident. This is not like an incident that just happened recently. There's been several, 4 or 5 different stories, well-known pastors kind of saying things out of left field. That is like putting a bad rap on the Christian faith. And so I think that's what we really need to be concerned about, is like, how are we supposed to draw souls to Christ when the people who are put in leadership positions are doing everything but
leading? Right.
But you can also argue.
Well, not even that, but it's like if somebody in that audience is trying to keep the lights on, how do you think they feel coming there trying to get spiritually fulfilled, because they're not getting it from the world? And they're just having trouble keeping the lights on, and now they got to listen to this pastor whine to them that he didn't get the watch he wanted.
But you can also argue that the people who are in leadership, some people are put there, but a lot of people put themselves there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people who are, just say, the good people, the positive people who would actually be a good example, they the ones running from leadership the most. You know what I'm saying? So
because
it's not
the way leadership is set up.
Well, but I'm saying, if you put yourself into leadership and you create your own lane, like a lot of these other people ain't necessarily coming up under bishops and stuff. They just showing up. They got a business mindset. They got marketing mind. You know what I'm saying? They know how to make themselves, marketable. Like it's a reason why, people can sell holy water at 3:00 in the morning for 25 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's still doing that.
Still doing it.
Yeah. If you've been to LA, you've seen that commercial.
I saw it the other day. Yeah, watching them business.
Yeah. He's pop off. I mean, he's still getting off. But so it's a, there's ways to blow up, just say, in ministry without necessarily, being the right person. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like twofold, the wrong people are putting themselves in position, but the right people aren't necessarily doing anything about it either. You know what I'm saying? We're just kind of just observing as opposed to infiltrating that change that needs to happen. And I'm including myself, and I'm not saying necessarily being a pastor. I'm just saying, like, just just fulfilling some type of role that can help push that narrative forward, as opposed to continuing to look at the foolishness and just be like, see, this is why niggas don't want to be Christians now. Like, we, including myself, could help change that.
I agree. I had this conversation earlier today about how in the church, because it's just, I don't know. For instance, my church, we have bylaws. Like, my dad does not have all the power. He cannot just do stuff because he feels like it. Like, right. They have to have meetings. The deacon board, the trustee board, the whatever board, everybody got to vote. Yay, nay. Like, it's literally yay, nay. It's not all that stuff. But then, like you said, Rudy, there's some people, there's nothing stopping me from starting a church tomorrow, where I dictate I make all the decisions, and I'm going to make a bylaws that say Janessa can make all the decisions. And I was just saying, like, there's not really anything, and I don't know if universal is the right word, but there's nothing in place that holds church leadership to accountability. It's kind of at the discretion of each individual entity. And, there have been some situations where you've seen pastors step down. I think, what was it? Was it Bethel Church? Or what was the church that just had the big scandal?
There was a huge one down here called Calvary Chapel had that happen.
Maybe it was something in the news, but anywho, pastors were set down or, dismissed, or they left the church or whatever. But then there have been situations where horrible things have happened and they don't miss a Sunday. They still up there preaching Sunday after Sunday. And to your point, Rudy, it's just kind of like we are doing more harm than good, because now you got folks, instead of people saying, oh, well, they did wrong, but that's not something that's allowed or acceptable or normal. It's kind of like giving, oh, see, that's why I don't deal with them church folks, because they be the worst ones. They be the scamming ones, taking your money. All and it's just bad. It's bad. So that's all.
If I was ever in a church and heard a pastor going off like that from the pulpit, that'd be the last time they ever see my face in that place.
And I think some of that stems from, and I think we talked about it before, that prosperity preaching too, that I think I had an issue with his rant. Kind of like I was saying earlier, just in terms of you continue to be broke, busted, and disgusted because you haven't praised me or you haven't done this for me, is why the Lord hasn't blessed you. Which is actually even deeper than some of the prosperity preaching, where they're saying, give to the church, and the church, and the Lord will bless you. He's saying, y'all not getting blessed because y'all don't bless me, which again definitely puts a bad taste in people's mouths. Definitely, like I said, is why people are probably resistant to coming to church, going to church. I think a lot of people have dealt with church hurt in the past, even prior to social media. And now that you have social media that highlights all of these negative things that happen in the church, because I was looking at, I don't know if we were talking about the one that got robbed. I don't know how I started looking at him. I thought we were talking about him today. But I guess that was somebody else. See, it's too many pastors. It's too many pastors with too much stuff going on that I can't keep up. So somehow I got to the other one, and I guess he is arguing with DL Hughley about something, and and it's just it's too much, and it's definitely taking away the purpose of church and kind of why we're here. To go back to the question though, should the church bless the pastor? I definitely feel, I think it goes back to what the word Janessa said, and how Terry kind of explained it in terms of relationships. I think that if you have a relational pastor, one that isn't doing this for the power, isn't doing this for the tangibles, isn't doing this for the praise, then I think that church members naturally want to bless their pastor. Because just like you have relationships with your friends, just like you have relationship with your spouses, your boyfriend, girlfriend, your partners, your coworkers, your whatever, and I want to, just take you out to dinner because, I just want to take you out to dinner, or I want to buy you a gift for your birthday. I think they do it for pastors too. Same. The church gives my dad gifts for church anniversary or pastor's anniversary. I have women in the church and men in the church who bake and cook, and they'll just randomly drop. My daddy always got a refrigerator full of food. Every week going over there, he got a refrigerator full of food, shrimp, sand, and
to that pastor's point, is that maybe why he cussing them out? Because you see, your daddy ain't cussing out the congregation, but he also taking care of.
Right, but my dad is awesome. But can we say that this pastor is awesome? No, I
don't. Relationship. It's what I think that it's what people's spirits say. Hey, I want to bless. I want to give to this person, not necessarily because he's the pastor, but because of what him and his spirit has done for me. And that's why I brought up husbands and wives and friends and coworkers and all of those too, because we've blessed those people in our lives because of what they've done for us, intentionally, unintentionally, consciously, unconsciously, how their spirit connects with ours, that we just want to give, we just want to do. And there's some people who, they got different gifts. It may be, hey, let me cook for you, or let me bake for you. We got a whole baker who bakes these just immaculate cakes for like every occasion. We had, let me wash your car, let me, do whatever, because I just want to give to the man of God. Not that you've done anything for me, but other than what the Lord has put you on earth to do. But I just want to give because you're relational, you're loving, you're caring, you've done this for me, you showed up for me, you sacrificed for me. Let me do this for you. Work on the house. There's people who come and fix the air conditioning and do the pest control and all of that for free because they just want to bless him because he's been a blessing to them. I feel like if if your spirit is right, then people just want to do that for you. How many free meals have you had? How many blessings have you had? How many job opportunities have you had? Just because who you are, who your spirit are, what your spirit is like, what you've given to others. That's just natural mankind to want to give. So just because he's a pastor, no, the church should not bless the pastor because, oh, you're in this position of power, and so no, you don't get anything extra outside of, whatever. Like, now that's crazy, because it's a relationship just like everything else that you want, that I just want to give because of who you are, what you've done.
When I was a kid, my church burned down. Somebody lit it on fire and it burned down to the ground. And the community came out and rebuilt it.
Right.
Nobody asked them to do that. Nobody had
to. Right.
They just wanted to. And I don't know about this guy.
Right.
I don't know if this guy is broke or busted, but I know he's disgusting. I know that for sure. But 100%. He's disgusting.
And yes, I heard you say that he apologized. And I also heard you, Rudy, in the sense of who knows what he's going through in this moment that made him kind of snap like this or whatever. But I can almost promise you that this is a part of who he is. And this isn't the first time that he has had an episode like this, just in general. It may not have looked like this. It may not have gone viral. Someone may not have recorded it. But I promise you, he didn't said some disrespectful stuff in the pulpit before. This isn't the first time.
Well, I was standing on the devil advocate side because you bailed. So I just figured I'd keep
Well, I think I was just more kind of recapping.
That's a very accurate
the video
name
was saying more so than playing devil's advocate, because you're right. I think I was just kind of recapping for our listeners so they could know what happened. That was the purpose.
I just wanted to say I didn't bring that up because that's how I felt. I already wasn't telling them nothing.
This is not the first time.
But I am playing devil's advocate to the point of, let's just say, because we don't know, like whether he's a terrible guy or a great guy, it's all speculation because we don't know this guy. So we could guess either way. But let's just say
I'm willing to call it.
Let's just say for the sake of my question, if he was, he was sacrificing it all and he was just giving it his all or whatever. Just say maybe he's been doing this for 10 years and ain't nobody ever got him nothing, whatever like that. Right. And I ain't talking about watches or whatever. I'm not talking about the things he specifically pointed out. I'm kind of recreating the scenario. Would he be justified not calling them broke, busted, and disgusting? Once again, don't erase all those words, but would he be justified in addressing his congregation in the sense of saying more when he was more along the lines of saying, like, I guess y'all don't value, what it is that I do? Like, would that argument without all the insults be more valid if he actually was just say doing all the sacrifice he was giving and whatever like that, and nobody ever, like did anything for it? And I'm saying, like, not that like they had a pastor's anniversary and nobody got nothing. Like they just didn't even throw pastor anniversaries or nothing. Like they just kept going with, with whatever was on the calendar. Would somebody be justified then in addressing trying to pull up scripture, like, listen, the word says that you should, honor your leaders or whatever. Like, would they be wrong in that sense now that they're taking the insults and everything out?
No.
No,
You're not born a pastor. You become one. You choose that path. Okay. You can't go out and go through the police academy and then become a cop and be like, nobody's even gotten me anything ever. I'm out here risking my life for the community. Nobody ever gives me nothing. Like, no, you can't. You pick this profession, whether you were called to it or you just chose it. It didn't matter. You walk the path. You don't get to just stomp your feet like a spoiled brat and say, well, look at Creflo Dollar gets a plane.
But I'm not. That's what I'm saying.
Joel Osteen's got a $10 million house.
I'm not talking about bringing up stuff. Whatever, they were just like, man, y'all seen, when I had lost my job, when I was taking care of y'all, and me and my family ain't had nothing to eat, and y'all ain't even offer us nothing.
Then I think that you gotta sit with yourself, and figure out why. Because I feel like naturally, especially if you have a church, naturally people want to bless, people want to give. That's just what most people want to do, and people in the church, like I said, they just want to. And so if you feel like that you don't feel valued as the pastor, if you don't feel cared for as the pastor, then you got to take a look at yourself. I think it's what you have to do. No, not address somebody else about what they haven't done for you, because that's not the reason why I do it. But if you don't feel valued as a pastor, I think in that position, then you may have to take a look at you. And like you said, there are people who have made themselves leaders. They're not really leaders. There are people who haven't been called to ministry, but they're pastors. And those are the ones who having these tantrums and these hissy fits and getting robbed in the middle of service and all of them, because y'all not here for the right reasons.
They're heretics, like I started by saying.
And church can, and I was having this conversation with someone else the other day who isn't the biggest church goer, but understands that church is a business and church can be a lucrative one at that.
A very lucrative one.
Right. And so you look at that, and you see that, hey, like I said, Creflo Dollar has jets. Joel Osteen has a $10 million house. Even when you look at some of the other pastors that ride around in Benz and Lexus, and let me be clear, because my parents got a Benz and Lexus, so I ain't saying nothing bad about it. But let me, I don't want somebody listening to be like,
and my uncle got a jet, and my uncle got a jet, but I just want to say,
I don't want to say that I'm talking down, but I think that
it's fine if they have that. I hope the church didn't pay for it, but yeah.
I don't think it's any issue with that. But the point I'm making is that people see that, and not realizing that I feel like my father is truly a man of God, and so he has been blessed with the finances to pay for those things. But I feel like some pastors look at that, or some people look at that and say, like Janessa said earlier, I can start a church tomorrow if I wanted to. How easy is it to get an LLC? And I can start a church. We can start online. I can get a loan and
you don't need an LLC.
Okay, thanks.
Need a 501c3.
Thank you. Whatever. Thank you.
Benefits.
That's right.
Clearly, see, I don't know anything about any of this, but you can I don't know how long it take to get a 501c, whatever. But
a day or two.
A day, right? And I can start a church tomorrow. I can go to the bank. I can get a loan. I can get a building. And I can, but they're not true leaders. They weren't called. They just saw what it looks like from the outside. And even talking about Creflo Dollar's jets and Joel Osteen's $10 million house, there was sacrifices, and there was also things that were done on the inside that you didn't see to even allow them to have those things too. So right, wrong, or indifferent about how pastors spend money, people miss the sacrifices and the hardships that come along with it as well, because it's not all glitter and gold. That's what you see on the outside.
But you knew that going in. You know what I mean? You're
not these fake pastors don't. That's why they're having these temper tantrums, because they see that, hey, y'all, I went to.
They see quick money. Just say what you mean. Yeah, they see quick money. And they're not wrong.
I see gifts and I see this, right? But they miss all of the sacrifice, which is why, like I said, they have these temper tantrums on the pulpit, from the pulpit. And see, and somebody said this too, but this is what upsets me more, is how, I don't know if the word is gullible, that people can be, because they had a whole amen corner. She waving the flag and fan and snapping. Baby, you ain't bought him the Movado watch either. So what you shouting for?
Let me talk to my cheap. Let me talk to my cheap sons and daughters. Yeah.
Y'all broke, busted, and disgusted.
Hey.
Like, what is happening?
Two things on what you said, Kelly. One, I think there's no problem with having the Benz and the Lexus. I don't have a problem with that at all. Especially because you said your father was happened to be fortunate financially. Good for you, go. But if you've got a Lexus and a Benz at home and the church still has a roof leak that hadn't been repaired yet, that's on you too. But if the church is doing well and you're getting paid your salary, like Janessa said, most churches, even going back to my very first one, the first one I can remember at 4 years old, they've always had board of trustees, or they've got they've got people to answer to, and they've got people, like, they don't. It's like Rudy said, just because you give tithes and offerings doesn't go into the pastor's wallet. He gets a salary. You know what I mean? I remember my dad's first church. He got $500 a week. That's what he got, you know? But that's the first thing. The second thing, the part that really kind of chafes me the wrong way is when you see people doing like this, or when you see Creflo Dollar looking for another plane, or you you see Joel Osteen like refusing, civil services and things like that. You're preaching from a book that says the first in line on earth will be the last in line in heaven. And you're telling me that you believe this so much that you need me to believe it too. So if you need me to believe it too, why are you building yourself up here on earth when you're supposed to be gaining your equity in heaven? Because again, states very clearly, the first in line here will be the last in line there. So yeah, you're kind of disillusioning your entire congregation by materializing, being so materialistic in this world, because you're supposed to be helping this world and then helping yourself down the road for eternity.
Well, to your question, Rudy, at least I think this is the question at this point.
I don't know. We're off the rails.
I was going to say, I think it goes back to just a heart check, because why did you get into ministry? Right. Was it to be praised by people or to be job well done by God?
Get that money.
And, it was interesting when he was saying he didn't feel valued and wouldn't you spend your money on this, and this. And this is why I was saying earlier a little bit, Hebrews chapter 2, verses 10. This is the contemporary English version. It says, everything belongs to God and all things were created by his power. So whenever we talk, him and us, whenever we're talking about ours, mine, what I deserve, we don't own nothing. We don't deserve anything. Like all that we have is by grace and mercy. Like,
yep.
And so when he's literally saying this, whether he takes out calling them broke, busted, and disgusted, or whatever he said, or not.
That's what he said.
Like, every time we breathe, we should be saying thank you, God, because we didn't do anything to earn that. You know what I'm saying? So how dare you fix your lips to even say what y'all need to do for me, when in theory, every time you breathe, thank you, God. Every time your heart pumps, thank you, God. Like, you don't have enough time in the day to do anything but say thank you, God. Really, if we were trying to do, if we want to make people feel validated, how much do we validate God? Or whatever, not validate God, but what did he say? He didn't feel
okay, value.
Do we value God? You talking about you, sir. You need to make sure you're valuing God to where you need to do that before you even think about yourself. Like, bye.
We just say the priorities are wrong.
So one more devil's advocate question to what you just said, Janessa. Since we don't deserve anything and all, and everything belongs to God, let's just say, if you were on a job, right, and you were working hard and you didn't get a promotion, should we have that same appreciation for that job? Because nothing belongs to us, and whatever we do get, we didn't do anything to deserve it anyways, or and even just say, like, even though we worked hard on the job, like, God gave us that ability to work hard, yada yada yada. So you put it all back on God, or is that only, I guess, exclusive to ministry? You know what I'm saying? And dealing with a pastor because of that position.
I don't think so. Me and my mom actually were talking about this earlier this week, because I was telling her that I didn't feel like I could say certain things to God. Like, I really don't like my job. I'm really not fulfilled in it. There's got to be more to like, because I don't want God to think that I'm not grateful. I don't want him to get me fired and now I can't, pay these bills or something like that. But deep down inside, I feel like there's more to life than this. And so my mom was like, you can pray those prayers to God. First of all, he already knows. He already knows your thoughts without you even saying it. But when you do that, instead of just complaining like, oh, I just hate my child, come to him like, well, why did you bring me here? What is your purpose for me in this? God, I want to do better. I want to do more. I want to feel purpose and fulfilling, and I'm not feeling that here. So help me understand, or whatever. Like, you can have those type of conversations. And so again, to your point, because it can be with any situation, any topic. But I think it has to be, again, a heart check, and like, why are you doing it? Not just, God, I don't like this job. Change your perspective. God, I don't like this job, but you clearly have it there for a purpose. So help me see what that is.
That's the only honest question that you can actually ask is, if you actually believe in God and you actually believe that he's in control, the only honest question you can give him is, why did you bring me here? What am I doing? If you truly believe in God and truly believe that he has, some interest in your life, the only thing you can say is, okay, what's next? Why am I here?
Gotcha.
That's the only thing. Because other than that, the whole thing falls apart. Because you say, oh, well, this guy didn't get a watch and he's underappreciated. Okay. So you're telling me he was born to be a pastor? That's his purpose in life? That's his goal? Okay, well, what does that say about the rest of the world? What does that say about people born in squalor that don't make 5 years out of life and then die? That was their purpose, was to make some white dude feel bad in the U.S. for a few minutes? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna kick it to you, Kelly. In reference to that particular video, that video did spark my question, but definitely that guy in the video. I mean, and I think that's why he even apologized, even outside. I'm sure somebody told him, but like, everybody, including himself, I think realized like, he was dead wrong, like 100%. The way he handled that, the way he went about it, the way everything, like, he was definitely dead wrong. But in reference to like the congregation and the church, blessing the pastor, does it have to be a watch and all these different type of things? No. Does it even have to be groceries? No. But I definitely think we should be mindful. And we're talking about the good pastors. We don't have to try to, categorize everybody who's in it for the wrong reason. But people who are in it for the right reason, like, I think, the church should be mindful of, the weight that they carry, you know what I'm saying? And it's okay to, check in with them, like, just to make sure, like, see, do they need something? It's not necessarily that you have to, bless them with a certain thing, but just maybe even just ask, and check in and make sure that they are okay, because, you want the head to be functioning properly so that, everybody who's following, can be straight as well. So definitely don't necessarily need a watch. But definitely, as far as well-being, it's important to check on your pastors. And I think
that's your job. You're getting paid for it, and it's a pretty good job for those that have it. You get to do something you believe in. You get to help your community, and you get paid on top of it.
But everybody doesn't get paid for it, though. That's what I'm saying.
So that's a different story then. If you're just volunteering, that's a different story. But I'm talking about professional reverence. That this is their job, is to run this church. That's your job. You know how many people thank me for doing my job? Right. Some, but not. I don't demand it. I don't expect it. That's what the money's for.
That doesn't matter. That's just like anybody can have a job to deal with stressful things, but that doesn't mean that somebody can't check and say like, hey, like, are you okay? Do you need something? It's not that I'm not saying, do you need me to buy you a yacht or a plane? Just in general, like, just is everything okay? And they may say like, well, actually, this is what's going on, and you can help. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever it is. I'm just saying, like, the blessing comes in the checking in and making sure that your leadership is okay, whether you're at a job, whether you're at a church, whatever. Like, that's important, because this is the person that you're following. So if they fuck around and die or have a nervous breakdown or whatever the case may be, then what? Like now you gotta find somebody else to follow.
Well,
as opposed to making sure this person is okay, then everybody else will be okay.
Well, if this guy really believes in what he's preaching, if he really believes in the things he's teaching other people, guess what? Pray for a watch and wait for it to show up.
We're not.
All right?
We're not talking. Get off the watch. We're not.
I'm on the watch. I'm staying on the watch.
I've already discussed and closed out the video. Like that video wasn't for the purpose of us holding on to how he reacted specifically. It was more about the question itself, which that's what I'm answering. Like the question itself, I just think we should look out.
Okay, fine. Pray for gratitude from your flock, and then wait for it to arrive. Okay, don't demand it. It's not the watch that bothers me. It's the entitlement that comes with it.
Right. That still has nothing to do with my answer, but I got you.
I'm not talking about your answer.
So you going back to the video?
No, just the in general entitlement that we're talking about. You're talking about whether people appreciate those.
No, I didn't use the word appreciate at all.
Okay. Well, I think it still warrants the word appreciate, right? You're talking about taking care of the people in charge so that, like you said, that take care of the head so the body doesn't wither. Okay. That's appreciation, unless you're talking about material goods, That's different. But I'm just saying it's the entitlement. Like you're entitled to certain things. That's what I disagree with.
Sure. All right. Kellie, go for it.
You can find us on social media. Instagram at The Worst Ones PK. New content coming soon. I feel like it's been a long time since I've done this. Like I can't even remember what I need you to move to the next one. So
it's been a week.
I was like, wait, what? You see me pause? Like, wait, I don't know what's next.
Kellie got Alzheimer's already.
I'm a little tired today. But Rudy had said something about us complaining about being tired. So I didn't want to say I was tired. But I was tired today. Anywho, to watch the podcast, listen to the podcast, check us out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. Type in The Worst Ones Podcast and you will find us. When you get there, make sure you like, you subscribe, you comment, and you share. So I think I did it out of order, but you like, you comment, you subscribe, and you share. Thank you to our 500,100,302 followers. We love you. We thank y'all.
All right. Remember, write that number down because I'm going to check you.
Yeah, I think I went up a little bit.
Yeah, you did. It changes every week.
Personal page at Princess Kells 51. It's private.
She ain't got no love for y'all.
And y'all can find me at JRihanna__. My page is public. But I was thinking about
throwing shade.
Right.
Even though I'm not really doing melanated brews right now, clearly it's in me because I have been drinking my tea today. So today's tea was passion tango tea, and it was delicious with my vanilla syrup. And I suggest you all co-host try it.
It sounds good. I'm more of a red rooibos kind of guy, but that's fine. You ever have that? You ever try that?
Mm-mm.
You should. It's an African tea. It's very good for your cardiovascular system.
Okay.
Helps lower blood pressure. See, I'm 41. I got to start thinking about that. So.
Well, take what you need.
That's right. At Terry Wayne Comedy, all social media platforms. That's where you can buy my red rooibos tea. Just a hint of vanilla, and it lowers your blood pressure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's this week's sponsor.
Rudy, are you still protest?
It's not a protest, okay? This is my lifestyle.
Solidarity.
If my God don't mess with social media, neither do I. Okay. I'm gonna let all y'all broke down, busted, and disgusted people stay on social media.
Well,
it's getting real.
That is a great plan for anyone.
Boom, shakalaka, laka, shaka, boom. Like, how do we end
it? Thank y'all. Thank y'all. I appreciate all y'all broke, busted down, disgusted people. All 500 million y'all for listening. We out.
Top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world. Top of the world. Yeah, top of the world.